Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Today we're going to be discussing about the overlooked details that sim racing needs, including Project Motor Racing coming very soon. But before we get into today's video guys, if you are new around here, please do hit that subscribe button down below to show your support. It's been greatly appreciated so far and you will never miss any updates on Project Motor Racing by myself. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to be kept up to date with all the latest information coming soon. And if you do go on to enjoy today's video guys, please do hit that like button down below. Let me know your thoughts down below as well. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments. But anyway guys, let's get into today's video. So ultimately, sim racing is all about recreating real-world motorsport. Typically, there are two main crowds in sim racing. There are those that spend every waking second pushing the limits of speed in competitive online servers, and there are those that instead spend their days in single-player game modes, aiming to recreate their famous motorsport events on the sim. It's that second group that these details are really focused on, because in fact one of the most important parts of offline racing is immersion, the ability to fully envelop yourself in the game and get close to believing you are actually there, racing tooth and nail for every single position. With impressive graphics, raw audio and convincing physics, not to mention progress in virtual reality, there's a lot to be celebrated when it comes to immersion in modern racing titles. However, there's always more to be done. No game does immersion perfectly, and no game I don't think ever will, because everyone thinks differently. But there are some features that should be standard across the board in 2025 for Project Motor Racing. One of these is seeing your car in rear view mirrors. An immersive feature that is slowly making its way into the majority of mainstream titles is the ability to see elements of your own car in the mirror. Often shortened to self in rear view among sim racers, this far more complex and graphically demanding approach to mirrors does provide far more immersion when behind the wheel. In real life, when you take a glance behind you, you don't get a perfect, unobstructed view on everything in your path. Instead, side mirrors show parts of your door, whilst the central mirror shoots your vision through seats, windows, and maybe even your own head. If you are behind the wheel of a race car, you'll even get a sight of roll cage and rear wing. As I say, this is a feature that's creeping into mainstream racing games. Assetto Corsa Evo is one of the latest games to launch with self in rear view as an option, whilst Project Motor Racing's promotional material also hints at mirrors being obstructed by your own car, which is great. However, the feature has existed for a while. iRacing has long featured parts of your car in the way of your rear view, and if you're brave enough to dive into the game files, ISI motor titles also get a primitive version of the feature. It is especially in VR that self in rear view is crucial. Checking behind you in the likes of AMS2 or Le Mans Ultimate at current does take you out of the experience, as not only do you not see any of the car behind you, but mirror also remains fixed in one position regardless of how much you move. Secondly guys, is non-disappearing cars after crashes. Now crashes happen and that's fine, but in real life, accidents, on-track retirements and other such misfortune has a wider implication on an event than in sim racing. For the most part, in sim racing, we rarely experience safety cars, full course yellows and other race stoppages. Though for longer races, as these race interruptions do play a large part in strategy, something sim racing does not make the most of. As such, more games should really integrate caution periods into their games. There is little need for safety cars when there is no danger out on track, of course. Most games, in the case of a crash, either send AI cars back on their way in rapid time or simply teleport the unfortunate car into the pit lane. What I'm saying here is more of a realistic approach to accidents in which cars that can no longer drive must wait for assistance for the marshals. Older racing titles like Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix series of games that fixated on immersion featured this sort of non-disappearing stricken cars, but the idea has faded since. If you could activate or even deactivate such a feature, it would please both immersion freaks and the racing focused competitive crowd. Next is an in-game crew chief, so let's be honest, graphical additions like obstructed mirrors and safety car remaining on track are all elements that will not be popular with the competitive online crowd. However, one thing we can no doubt all get behind is an in-game crew chief helping us through the event. Most sim racers will be aware of the current external application that extracts telemetry from your racing game and provides you with insight regarding driving style, strategy and the odd abusive call out. But getting everything you need from a game rather than requiring third-party programs is always a nice bonus. Several titles feature a crew chief or race engineer, though rarely are they as chatty nor as insightful as the popular free-to-use program. The best race engineer integration available as first-party content is undoubtedly within the F1 games, though the likes of Assetto Corsa Competizione, Le Mans Ultimate and R-Factor 2 all have their own particularly shy companions. In a since taken down pair of videos, Straightforward Studios' development team highlighted the use of AI in sim racing for both commentary and as a race engineer and a crew chief, so this is a possibility that Project Motor Racing could get something along these lines. Next is warm-up and formation laps. One element to the real-life race weekend that was available but rarely used in the original ISI motor games like R-Factor 1, Automobilista 1 and GTR 2 was the ability to drive from the pits to your grid slot before a race. A chance for real-life drivers to assess the conditions on track, warm-up laps to the grid also help build anticipation ahead of a race. But that's not all the ISI motor was able to do. You could also set race weekends up to feature a full formation lap before a standing start. Today, sim racing games like Automobilista 2 and Le Mans Ultimate allow for a full formation lap into a rolling start, but a pace lap to the grid is rare in the modern age. Whilst rarely used functions when they are available, they are nice little additions for those wishing to experience every element of a race weekend. We perhaps would not suggest that every simulator should make you drive from the team headquarters to the track before building the car yourself, but the more anticipation before a race, the better. That is also why the recent NASCAR 25 gameplay reveal may not tickle the fancy of some immersion seekers, as whilst the cutscenes set the scene, it seems you can't actually drive out of the pit yourself in practice or in qualifying. The final thing today, guys, I'm going to go over is animated pit crews. This is a hot topic and people wish that this was around a lot. If there is anything that will kill any form of immersion in sim racing, it's driving into the pits to simply sit for 30 seconds with a cutscene and nothing really happening, only to leave the pit road again with a full tank and new tyres. How did the tyres suddenly gain grip? Where did the fuel come from? These are all over-the-top questions you could ask in games like Le Mans Ultimate. The solution is simple animated pit crews. Several games, including Assetto Corsa Competizione and Automobilista 2, now show an animated pit crew that will change your tyres and fill your tank. iRacing is another example of a similar thing, though whilst its NASCAR crews are brilliantly immersive, other car classes do not yet have the feature. It's 2025 and every game should really be able to place animated mechanics around the car, sending the odd wheel flying, especially when the predefined pit boxes see your car move to the optimal position should you park off-centre in most of the games. So that's all the information I have for you in today's video, guys. Let me know what you think down there in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree? What would you add to this list, or what would you take away? Do let me know down there in the comments. But anyway, guys, that is it for me in today's video. I did hope you enjoy it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you over in my next video, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.